you never know how you're going to end up playing after having a week off. Certainly, we worked on a lot of things, and we took 2 days off after the Kansas game. We got in there on Tuesday and Wednesday and really worked on NC State. And then on Thursday, we took Thursday off, and then we turned our attention to Ryder on Friday and Saturday. And what we wanted to do is clean up things. I didn't think in the Kansas game we played together enough. I thought we had moments. I didn't think we got off to a good start, obviously, being down 15-0. But tonight we did, and the second half we did. I thought we grew in a lot of ways. When you look at it, what I think this team has to do. I don't know that we got to have 21 assists on 29 made field goals all the time, but we have to play off each other. And I thought we really did a good job tonight, moving the basketball and playing off each other. Defensively, we got back into the right places. I thought we were out of place. And sometimes a week really helps you. Sometimes you can be a little bit rusty, but I thought our week was well spent. Questions?
Coach Marcus Hill talked about where he's improved the most since he's arrived here. He said the game he doesn't get sped up as much. I mean, he had a really good night tonight with just 1 turnover to 6 assists. Can you just talk about his growth in that department?
Yeah, he's growing. And the next stage of it is, because he makes shots behind the three-point line. The next stage is, feeling confident making those shots. I think the biggest thing with Marcus is he thought for this team he had to score. With his ability to get paint touches, I think he had 6 assists tonight. And so, the ball, you always reward it when you make the right play. And I think that's where his growth is. All of those guys, we tried this week to define certain roles and, hey, make a good pass, but if somebody else has got a better pass, they got a great shot. So make sure we pass the ball. And I think that's where he's grown at.
You said you weren't worried about Michael the last 4 games. He was able to, put it back together today. What would you like just to see him, have a game every day?
He and I just sit down and I just say, man, just play. I mean, just have fun. Like, this is your last year. You can start counting down the games and stop worrying about everything. We're not, I don't, and he never said this, but you don't have to carry the load because the team won the ACC tournament and went to the Final Four last year. You just got to play. And so, he's such a great kid. So I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but just go play and have fun. And certainly he looked like the Michael that we've all grown to love, and he did some really good things tonight.
It was a little dramatic in the first half with a flagrant and 2 technicals. Have you ever coached in a game where both those types of fouls are called in one half?
Oh, I'm sure I have. I mean, I've been in a bunch of games where, hey, listen, I've been in some games where a bunch of people have gotten thrown out of the game. So, yeah, I'm sure I have. And, one of them was, a hard foul at the yellow end, and then Ben was playing defense, and the guy whacked him pretty good. And so, but, yeah, I've been in, and that happens. Sometimes that happens.
Do you often see players be a little more energized when they go home to family? And then do you often see players get a little energized when they return after seeing family?
Yeah, JC, my message to these guys is give back. Like, I want them to be energized. Like, everybody, obviously, I'm going to give gifts for Christmas, and I'm going to receive some nice gifts. But at the end of the day, what I told our players were there are people at home that are praying for you. There are people at home that really, really love you, who you are. And if you can have a chance to go spend 5, 10, 15 minutes with those folks and put a smile on their face, that's what it's about. And I think, going home, eating home cooking and seeing family, I think that's good because I think at some point everyone needs a break. I was talking about this the other day. When I was a prep school coach, and the reason why the headmaster from Hargrave visited and he came up to practice, and the one thing I do miss is when I was a prep school coach now, we would play this game. We would play in New York, and I wouldn't see him until like January. So you got about 3-4 weeks off. I said, those days are over for me. And so in the 3 or 4 days that our guys will be home, I hope they get a chance to spend a lot of time with their family and make somebody smile.
Created separation early in the game. How big was that? Was it with a point of emphasis?
Yeah, you know what? We wanted to establish ourselves defensively. I've talked about this. Sometimes you can come out flat, but that doesn't mean that you got to give up baskets because you're not scoring. And we really emphasize that. The one thing that we did this week that we've done different is we played a bunch of small games. We played a bunch of 4-minute games. And putting them in situations where you're up 10, down 10, we wanted to, instead of drills, I think sometimes as coaches we can over-drill. And in drills, you know where you're supposed to be. But when you're playing a game, the guys are in different places. And I thought it paid off for us. And we were better. And I thought we got better in some areas.
Are you do you like to divide the season into parts? And do you feel like this part is now finished with the non-conference slate?
Yeah.
And now you know what you need to do for the remaining parts of the season?
Yeah, I do. I look at it as non-conference is over. Now we turn our attention to back in the day, you wouldn't have played an ACC game so far. Now that we're at 20 games, you got to play one early. But we're talking about, hey, now your focus is now for the rest of the season, all ACC game. We got off to a great start, being 1-0, taking care of home, and now obviously we got 19 more of those games.
How do you navigate this little week off from area and so that you will be ready in Virginia?
Yeah, I just when we get back, every coach will tell you this, when you get back that day, you get back, it's a throwaway day. Our guys are going to get back in the gym late on the 26th, and I'm going to try to get them in some type of shape. But I will say this, we've got a bunch of guys that it's hard to keep them out of the gym, so they're going to probably find some way to work out. But we'll get back to 26, practice 27, may take a day or two off somewhere in there and get ready for the game. But we got to divide it up. But you don't want to lose everything that you put into it. But in the same token, it's very important. And I'm one of the coaches that our guys need to go home and spend some time with family.
What are some of the key things you've learned about this team throughout the non-conference schedule?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we need each other. Like, we don't have the DJ Horn that can go off for 20 points every game. We don't have Taquavion Smith or Jaquel Joyner. This group needs each other to be good, and that's okay, because when you got a bunch of guys, look at our stat sheet now, when you got a bunch of guys getting 10, 11, 12 points a game, sometimes that's the hardest team to guard because you don't know who to focus on. But the one thing I've learned is that when we play together, we can be really good, and we really need each other.
You talked earlier in the season about how you wanted to play fast. This team is still relatively low in terms of tempo or possessions per game. Are you kind of leaning into what you're seeing right now, or do you still want to see them play faster?
Well, I think when we play fast, we're really good. I don't know where we are in the country in fast breaks, but at one point we were number 1 and number 2 in the country. And so we are playing fast. I think the segment when we didn't play fast, when we were giving up, and we gave up too many tonight, I'll talk about that later, when we give up offensive rebounds where we couldn't get out and run. And so, I think when you look at our wins, most of our wins, we've done a good job of running. The losses, we haven't. Number one, because I thought we gave up too many rebounds, and so we couldn't get out and run.
What does the ACC schedule look like for you when you consider the conference as a whole to get off to a good start in the conference?
It's still tough. It doesn't change that you got to go to great venues. It doesn't change who you're playing. It doesn't change anything. That we get a chance to play against one another. We did not have a great November, December. That being said, it doesn't change that we got really good teams that we got to play at their venues. And it's crazy because everybody defines so much about how good a team is, about what number they are in the net. It still doesn't change that you got to go to their place and play. They're a really good basketball team. And so we just, we're going to, as we always do, we'll take one game at a time. We'll concentrate on when we get back on Virginia, and then we'll move from there.
Going off that, it's going to be weird not seeing Tony Bennett on the other bench.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Tony's been there forever. I mean, I remember when I was at UNCW, I played him in the tournament. So it will be a little weird seeing them, but they'll have their own identity, and it is what it is.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy yourself.